Visit us on our social handles. We're everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You just type in Diaspora Network Television. You will find us there. Today I have, like every day before we get to the guests, you have to go with me to the jungle. Stay tuned for the jungle. In today's jungle, I want to add my voice to the social pandemic that's going on throughout the world. We know about COVID, fine. That COVID came, it's done its thing. But then on the 25th of May, we all watched in horror how those that I would call animals in uniform just placed their knee on a human being's neck and so casually killed him. I mean, this guy, for all we know, he was taking a selfie. It didn't bother him that it was a human being under his knee. And so after this event, the whole world has erupted. Blacks, whites, Asians have band together and say this one cannot continue. In fact, I saw a poll yesterday where Americans, for the first time, black, whites, are seeing police brutality as the main, very serious problem in America. But I want to take a different take. I gave a speech at the W.E.B. Du Bois Center 2 weeks ago where I just impromptu came up with this term, respect your race. For today's jungle, I want to expand on that respect your race piece because a lot of people have asked me a question, what does it mean? Look, this thing here, this color, this skin color here, we ourselves don't respect it. And I'll give you a few examples. If you are a Nigerian, you want to get married, you have Abuja, all these kinds of cities in Nigeria, but you say, oh, let me fly my friends, 50, 100 people on Emirates and take them to Dubai to go and get married there. You are not respecting your race because you know that money that you spent could have done wonders within Nigeria. They come here on vacation, yes. But if you tell me that to be in the crowd, you have to go to somewhere like Dubai, that's the in thing in Nigeria to get married, you're not respecting your race. I've seen situations where in Africa, the butler, a black guy, will stand there and have a fellow black guy open his own door, but right behind him, a white couple is coming, and then he said, oh, he opens the door for him. If you do that, you're not respecting your race. If you steal money from the coffers of any government, we know stealing is bad, but if you don't use that to open businesses for your fellow black people to get jobs to do, but you go and put it in foreign banks, you're not respecting your race. What am I saying? Respect your own race before somebody else will do so. Because what is going on in America and in Europe where they feel like if a black person just writes a bad check, we have to kill him. But a white guy who's been accused of killing two people, they actually give him water to drink after they've arrested him. They're placing more value on that life, but they're not placing any value on your life. And for me, from where I'm standing, I think it begins with us. We have to start to respect our own race before other people will do so. And so whenever you see on social media, when you see the phrase respect your race, really that's what you mean. You have to take your race seriously before other people can value it. And for today, that's the jungle. Stay with me. I'll be right back for us to meet our famous guest.
People are not plucked from heaven to become MPs. They come from amongst us. Some of the ways we find acceptable are magnified when we put them in positions that are bigger
the president and his government. What's your brief assessment of them?
We have a government that is not only disappointing, but arrogantly dishonest. MPs are emergency numbers.
What did the person ask for?
The request was that he needed my help to get some contact within the National Lottery Authority so that they can give him some too sure banker to stake.
Expecting money from your relations abroad. Have you ever been defrauded of your money remittance? Open an ADB account today. Send your name and your account number to your relations abroad. Ask them to use MoneyGram direct to account service and receive your money in your account in minutes. With MoneyGram direct to account service, there's no PIN code wahala. You can now access your money on all ATMs in Ghana or send it to any mobile money wallet using ADB mobile banking app or shortcode *767#. Visit our branches nationwide to conveniently receive your Western Union, MoneyGram, RIA, Unitylink, Transfast, and Express Money Transfers. Reach us on our Facebook, website, or call our hotline on 0302 210 210 for more information. ADB, truly agri and more.
Hello and welcome back from Jangle. Today I have the guests of all guests. And there's a reason why, you know what, I feel like taking my phone and shooting this studio so that you guys can know. Everybody has stopped their work because they want to see, guess who? Rocky Dawuni. Welcome, Rocky.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I don't know about you, but I'm not comfortable with this elbow thing. Why aren't we shaking anymore?
Well, you know, it's things have changed, you know, so it's just everybody adjusting to the protocols that kind of, you know, currently are going around the world because we're dealing with an unprecedented situation right now.
Right.
You know, so for me, I just know that, you know, human beings, our ultimate objective is to get connected.
I know.
You know.
Talking about getting connected. You're today telling us if I meet my friend, I cannot shake his hand.
Yeah.
But nobody is saying that we can't kiss our girlfriends or boyfriends. It seemed to me that's a closer connection where the transmission can be much more quickly than just shaking somebody's hand.
I know. I mean, that wasn't included.
It wasn't included. I wonder why. I wonder why.
Beats me, you know. Beats me, you know. But, you know, I think in the long run, you know, regardless of, you know, when everything started, I think the information was still like, I feel like nobody really has the full information, you know, because things have been constantly readjusted.
Yes.
You know, economies were, you know, people said at first social distancing. At first they said, you know, you have to be a certain distance in order for you to, you know, to contract it. And then there's also certain reports that came out. You know, World Health Organization did an adjustment of that, you know, a lot of the constantly moving. You know, a lot of the asymptomatic people that they were talking about who, you know, who carried forth the infection, that percentage is actually much more lower than, you know. So there's just there's a lot of rumors going, and I think it's also being driven by the sense of fear too, all of it, that we are at a place that maybe even the fear is much more.
The fear itself.
Is the virus.
I think one American politician said, what we need to fear is fear itself. Yes. I think it was Lyndon B. Johnson. By the way, I want to take you, in watching your video, I saw that besides the girls that were dancing, every reggae artist has facial hair. I'm yet to see, I mean, the locks we understand, but the mustache and the beard and all that, is there something to it that the rest of us don't know?
I mean, it's just usually a lot of times when you leave your hair, you know, I mean, actually, there's dreadlocks and then there's rastas. You know, most rastas.
What's the difference?
Dreadlocks is anybody that has twisted their hair, and a Rasta is somebody who is dedicated to his beliefs. You know, in terms of, you know, dedicating his life to promoting, peace or harmony, coexistence, and then also in a deeper sense too, the belief in Ethiopia, the emperor of Ethiopia, as the figurehead, the head, spiritual head of Rastafarianism. So there is the difference. While some people just wear it, in terms of for fashion. Most Rastas are there to a much more older Judeo-Christian tradition of Nazarites,
right?
Where if you dedicate yourself to a cause, or you dedicate yourself to elevating the truth, or worshiping God, or serving a higher purpose, you don't have razors touching your hair, and all of that. So facial hair and all of that is all part of that.
I notice it's also associated with weed smoking.
No, that's just
it's a perception. I know that, but I'm saying that that's what when people see Rastafarians. I guess I don't know if Bob Marley or Peter Tosh them started that, but for some reason people associate it.
Well, I think it's there's like social stereotyping.
Okay.
Because when it comes to people, like even right now in America, you have. Marijuana has been legalized everywhere in different parts of the world, and most people who are in those shops don't even have dreadlocks.
Okay,
there's even more people
doing it now.
But it was kind of because reggae, it was part of like the Rastas. It was part of a sacrament, in terms of they saw it more as a spiritual thing, and not necessarily something that was socially abusive every time, but they used it purposefully for, so. Images like Bob Marley with the joint, Peter Tosh, and all of that kind of stuff became the much more bigger circulated imagery. But now the business, it's become a business. It's been sanitized. You see much more pretty girls representing it right now. It's almost like the Vogue philosophy has kind of caught on,
taken over.
Instead of the Rasta.
But I imagine that if you found yourself as a musician, you found yourself with fellow musicians, Rastafarians, and you're into it, it would be very tempting, if they're doing it, it would be tempting for you not to also indulge in it, to belong.
Oh, obviously, this is, it's, the thing is that musicians, people have their private lives, and a lot of times, most people are not public in terms of things, when they are, if they even support it or if they believe in it, that kind of stuff. It's mostly a private thing that people do,
but these musicians are not privatizing the fact that they join. They do it openly, right?
Oh, I mean,
you haven't encountered any such situation?
Oh, in our business, people. You see people everywhere smoking cigarettes, smoking, and that kind of stuff. It's part of the entertainment business. You see it all around. But and then there are people, it's like people who drink, and it doesn't mean that because everybody's drinking in a bar, that means
they are drinking.
Drinks. So certain people, it's important to certain people, and other people too. It's like they'll be around it, but it's not something that is as important, but now it's the whole world is a big business in the world. So
medically.
Medically. In terms of the medical.
So maybe those who were doing it at the time knew something the rest of the world didn't.
Well, the thing is that there are a lot of studies. Like people who are curious about it. I think they can find a lot of studies online in terms of the medicinal, kind of aspect of it, and that is even the wonder part, because if it's a pharmaceutical, something that really helps heal people and all of that kind of stuff, obviously it's good for science to look into it and find the active ingredients, and then if it can be able to support certain ailments or contribute to a cure to certain ailments, because the cure in nature's cures lies in plants.
Plants, yes.
So and there's every plant has its potency and its strengths and its weaknesses too. So I think that
for all we know, there are other plants that are more potent than the weed, but we just haven't discovered that aspect of it today. I want to switch to your biography. When I was reading your biography, I'm like, wow. I mean, that's just one word that describes it. Wow. You have done amazingly from your beginnings at Burma camp.
Yes.
Can you take us through there? What happened? I mean, I know you used to attend the band when what do they call it? Hot barrels.
Yeah.
You used to attend them, and by the way, I'm crazy about bandstands and music and everything, and what it does to you.
Yeah. It's really incredible. I mean, the thing was that, so I grew up at a time where, when I look back, even like in terms of when I was growing up. So I was born Michel Camp in Tema. So my father was from a traditional royal family in the northern part of Ghana, and he was the last one of his family. So obviously the chieftainship was far from him. So he left, came, joined the army. We were born on the military barracks. I also grew up around the time that Jerry Rawlings took part. So the Ghanaian military were heavily involved in politics, and so in the barracks, the situation in the barracks was that here we were, military barracks are pretty strict environments, but then you had also the politics now being part of the barracks, and then the soldiers too at that time too were going on peace
missions abroad,
in Israel and Egypt and all that, so they were also bringing new music that you usually don't find around the country. Anytime they went there, they brought all the American records that had been released, they got it there and then brought it there. So all of a sudden the barracks became this whole kind of ecosystem of sound, new sound, politics, and just every day you hear soldiers debating and talking about national issues, something that you never even heard.
That's a mixture that's not common.
Exactly.
Military strictness,
yes.
Music,
yes.
Politics.
Yes.
How do you survive in that?
Well, it's a very. What I found out was that it helped shape me as a person. As I say, nature versus nurture. So sometimes nature is what you have deep within you. Nurture is how your environment influences who you become. So from the onset, I saw that music was something that resonated with me. I wanted to tell a story. I wanted to communicate. I had, shall I say, the sense for rhythm, and then the military band to Hot Barrels, where at that time all of us always rehearsing new songs. So one day I heard them rehearsing reggae music. It was actually the time.
And that's what hit you.
Yeah, that hit me and it was actually, I think that it was Bob Marley's Uprising record.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Sun is shining.
Yeah. Well, there's a song. Mine was Coming In From the Cold.
Coming in from the cold.
Badass
song. Yes.
So the band kept rehearsing over and over. So I went there and I was curious who played the song.
No, let me tell you. Coming in from a cold is bad. It's one of those songs.
It's incredible. It's such a masterpiece. So so imagine an impressionable young kid. When I heard that, I was just like, wow, this is beautiful. So I started spending time with the band, and then through that I started watching stagecraft and all of that. And then so there was the music, there was the political inspiration, there was the
strictness.
And the strictness, that's discipline. And then there was also all the sounds that were coming in.
So how come you didn't go the other way though? Because I've seen young men with all those going on, it's very, very easy to go the other way rather than go, live a straight life and become something of yourself.
Well, I think that everything is all about, knowing your focus.
Yeah.
And then also being focusing, kind of garnering your kind of your ability to be able to have a laser, shall I say, a laser path to
where you want to go.
To where you want to go, a certain clarity. And sometimes, in life, it takes you time to do
at that age, though, sometimes you can get very easily distracted.
You can get distracted. But, some of us do, from the onset, we understood it.
Talking about understood it, you mentioned nature versus nurture. Give me percentages. What molded you at that age? Was that the nature part or the nurture part?
The nurture part was very strong when I started. The nurture part was where I knew that, wow, music, I understood music. When I heard people playing any song, I would dissect it. And then my mom used to play, a lot of the Nanam Pedu, all the high life music. I would listen to Nanam Pedu's music. There's all the stories. I would sit down and ponder on the story, like the hunter and the bird and all that kind of stuff. It was just like a whole universe for me. So there was a natural affinity and deep understanding of it that was natural to me. But then the nurture was also to be lucky to grow up in an environment of, a cross between politics, music, Fela Kuti's music, Bob Marley's music, all this revolutionary music just within a short period of time. So it molded me into somebody who wanted to use his music to say something, somebody who wanted to use his platform for social transformation, somebody who wanted to use his medium to connect people and create areas of agreement, and at the same time somebody who wanted to use music as a means to elevate everybody.
But that's the curious part, because you mentioned that there were a lot of also American music, Commodores, Kool and the Gang coming in.
Yes.
But it seemed like the type of music that hit you were the rebel music.
Yes, but you see, the thing is that when the rebel music, just because of the environment, but at the same time, as a musician, you fall in love with music.
Okay.
So every kind of music. I remember that time, there was an American show called Solid Gold.
Okay.
It used to be on TV.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I would be so obsessed.
You see, these kids.
I know, it's like
these kids. They don't know. They see their TV today. They think they got it.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, Soul Train, Solid Gold.
So like all those. So you watch that. You see where people move. So the culture of music, and at the same time too, I was also into the traditional music.
Yeah.
So even in school, we were learning the agbaja, the traditional dances. I was into the melodies and all of that. Because when you're an artist, there's usually sometimes how you present yourself.
Absolutely.
But it's fed by well springs of different inspirational
Absolutely.
sources. So it helps you. It helps the way you interpret it.
That's
be uniquely different.
Yeah. That's a lot of navigation to go through as a young man. And so we're gonna go on a quick break. For you, we have more in common than you might imagine. Me too, I was molded by music, but also a different kind of music. But we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue on this trajectory, and then we'll talk about some other aspect of how, let's say in a movie we would call it the making of Rocky Dawuni. Stay tuned.
Would you buy anything without first knowing exactly what the product was and how it could benefit you? Definitely not. Neither should you vote for your next member of parliament without knowing who they are and how they plan to solve your problems. Watch The Next MP only on Diaspora Network Television and find out the men and women who want to represent you in parliament. The Next MP only on DNT.
Lock on Hello Entertainment Box.
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 Welcome back. We were into it, but on television you always have to break and you lose your train of thought. Hopefully we'll be able to catch it back. Rocky.
Yes.
We were talking about music, a convolution of music, politics, Burma camp, all that stuff. But one thing that I noticed, it jumped out at me when I read your autobiography. Your mother was not mentioned.
Okay.
Is there a reason for that?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is that autobiographies, a lot of times you have so many rewrites.
Okay.
And then also you have different versions. There's like a brief version
Right,
for certain
right.
things, and there's longer versions
Okay.
and all of that, But a lot of times I think that it depends on what the purpose is for, I mean, my mom was, I would say such a big inspiration, on me as a musician, and that's a good point, because I need to even put some more of that sentiment into my biography. But my mom used to be a person that used to play me like a lot of the high life music. My mom was a big fan of Nana Pedu.
Okay.
And
the stories.
Yes, the stories. So every time the Nana Pedu song, even all from, Adolfo, Sinidi Donko,
City
all
Boys.
of those City Boys,
Yeah.
all those foundational music of Ghanaian high life.
Okay.
She was a big fan of it. So it also made, when I was growing up, I was just a big student of it. Before I even discovered reggae music.
I think I have found my answer, because one of the questions that I had for you is that, look, as I mentioned, I came into the era of club music. So the focus was on dance. We could care less what they were talking about, as long as it had a good beat and we could dance and have a good time. But you, when you talk about Nana Mpadu, when you talk about Peter Tosh, Fela Kuti, and all these are message-focused music.
Yes.
Is that where you get? Because when I hear you, almost every single song that you have has a specific message. Is that where you got it from?
Well, I think that was where I got it from, and also that it's almost like you gravitate towards what you're gonna become. You gravitate towards the masters that you can learn from, and as a musician too, there's like certain musicians, their body of work becomes your textbook.
Yeah.
So you go and learn from them, and through that too, it helps you discover yourself. So for me, it was a matter of, I just knew that if you learn truthfully from these masters, it's gonna help you also put your craft at a certain level.
Yeah.
You're gonna strive for excellence. You're gonna strive for greatness. You're never gonna settle for anything that is, that is below par. And I think that that became an inbuilt
But
kind
what
of
would
compass
you
for me.
Yeah,
Yes.
but what would you say to those who would say that, look, if I want a message, I'll read a book. When I want to hear a song, I want to dance and enjoy myself. So why do we even have to put message in
But I think
a
the
song?
message music message music makes you dance and enjoy yourself.
Really?
That's the trick.
Okay.
So the trick is that that you don't turn the music into a lecture. If you want a lecture, you go to a lecture hall and hear a lecturer talk about. But if for message music, it's like those who are able to make the craft to kind of impact the fabric of society and be accepted and become
So
part of
message is
popular
very
culture.
important too.
It's important because the thing is that if you are moving and you are into music and it also has something to contribute
That's
to
an icing on the
intellectually,
cake.
Icing on the cake. And sometimes it is the cake.
Yes. That's right. So let me what's your favorite all-time favorite song that you did not write or perform?
Oh my God. That's a lot of songs.
No, I want you to pick one, or give me a top 5.
Well, I'll say Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. For me, it's, and then Marvin Gaye, I'll say Bob Marley and Peter Tosh, Get Up, Stand Up. Because it's one of the most important call to action.
A call to,
Fela Kuti. Fela Kuti, the thing is that the song that I like about Fela Kuti is a very controversial song because it was popular. It's Zombie. And I know that a lot of the military, I grew up in the military back. The military people hated the song, what it said about, but everybody played it.
Just like pornography.
Exactly.
Everybody hates it on paper. But, okay. Go ahead.
So it was like very popular in the barracks, So that I will say I love Curtis Mayfield. Curtis Mayfield, my favorite though is Freddy's Dead, from the soundtrack. And then I think finally I will just give it to. If I say this, people will be so surprised. But one of my favorite songs of all time is Machidi's Kuse Kuse.
Really?
Kuse Kuse.
Kuse Kuse.
Yeah. The first time I heard that song, I was obsessed with the arrangement.
Yeah.
So it was a high life song, but it's just the way
It was put together.
He articulated himself, and then the arrangement, and then the emotion in that song. You know, because I was a big, as I said before, I discovered.
I'm finding something.
That song just did something to me.
Yes.
Every time I heard it, it just, and then also growing up in Koforidia, you heard it in funerals. Every time you pass Jackson Park, you hear the song. So it was a kind of a very, song that I really loved.
And now with your top 5 song, it gives me a very good impression about you. Now I'm going to tell you what my personal favorite all time, bar none, personal favorite is. And what does that tell you about me? Man in the Mirror, Michael Jackson.
Oh. And wow, Man in the Mirror was actually written. The person who wrote Man in the Mirror actually just wrote a song for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wrote a song that she sent to me.
Okay.
For me to.
Not Rod Temperton. No, that's not him. Okay.
No. God, I'm spacing on her name right now. But it was written by a lady.
Okay.
Who wrote that song, and Michael Jackson. And she used to be a songwriter with Quincy Jones.
Okay.
So then Michael, the song was presented through Quincy Jones, and Michael heard it, and it's just one of Michael's best songs. But Michael was the original writer.
Okay, So Man in the Mirror, remember during Jangle, what did I say? Respect your race. With all that things going on, look at yourself first. What are you doing? So I'm one of those people that no matter whatever is going, I first look in the mirror and say, okay, what is Jermaine's responsibility in this? So that song particularly, it does things to me.
I remember the name, Saida Garrett.
There you go.
Yeah.
Saida Garrett.
Yeah.
She actually did a song for Quincy Jones also.
Yeah.
Saida Garrett.
Saida and I have been very good friends.
Oh my goodness.
Met, a lot of times. Saida is a big supporter of my music. She loves what I do, and she's actually written a reggae song for me.
Wow.
Yeah, that she
What's the title?
It's about laughing. It's about
laughing.
just.
And have you performed it yet?
No, because she wrote it with her writing partner, and she sent it to me to see what I thought about it. And I said it was fantastic, and she said, you're welcome to record it for the next project that you're doing. So, but it's a beautiful.
And what's the title of it? Smile or what?
No, that's what I said. The title is about
laugh.
Yeah,
it's about laughing. But what's
it's about things that make you just laugh about it. You know what I mean? Kind of life.
Wow.
Things can be very serious, but you have to put. It's like putting a smile on your face.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Take things in stride.
Yeah.
Certain things you don't have to let them weigh you down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what life is about. It's about some things make you.
When you mention names like Saida Garrett, when you mention she's been I've been a fan for a long time, but these are people in the background that you never see. In your music, in your line of work, you know how much work goes into it. And then the artist shows up to sing. Okay, but the artists get the notoriety and everything. But I mean, I've recorded before in '88. The amount of work that actually goes into producing it before the artist shows up to sing is amazing.
Yes.
How much of the production aspect are you involved in?
You see, I was lucky because when I started, I didn't have any kind of structures.
Okay.
So like if I grew up in the Western world, I will probably have a guitar early. I'll have education on it. But when I grew up in the military barracks, I even never saw a guitar.
You guys I heard you guys were drumming on.
Yes. So that was even later in school.
Yeah.
When I got to university, we started our first band.
Yeah.
We were playing using boxes and stuff to make the music.
Yeah.
But before that, as an individual growing up, we used to use a form of beatboxing.
Yeah.
So I'll have one of my friends, I will sing the song, and then he will make the bass and all of that. I'll teach him this, what you have to do, and all of. So that's kind of how we were writing. So it taught me the ability to understand the production aspect. So when I heard a song in my head, I also knew how the accompanying instrumentation will go. So it became a natural part of me because I was forced to know it
from the beginning.
And from the beginning. So when we got to Legon and we started our first band called Local Crisis, that had Kafui Day and all these other incredible musicians who were part of it.
The current Kafui Day here?
Kafui Day here, yes.
Really?
Yeah. He was part of our first.
Kafui Day was in your band?
Yeah.
Oh, wait till I see
we were together
him.
in a band. It was called Local Crisis.
So wait till I see, guys, you guys heard, Kafui Day was in a band, and he has conveniently hid it from us.
He's one of the
All
most
right.
amazing keyboardists.
Really?
He's an incredible keyboardist and a musician. Keyboardist and a musician, very open-minded. He
Interesting.
writes music. His whole family is like they're a family of like music geniuses.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So when we, so there was Yofi Brew, Nat Brew's brother, Michael Adiobo, a whole lot of other people, who were all part of this first band. And then we started off, started making demos on the barracks, in the campus. That was when I got into Legon. So to answer the question about production is that all these kind of trajectories of my career, just because we didn't have the capacity or we didn't have the ability to hire somebody else, it's almost
You
like
had to do it
you
yourself.
had to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And then in doing so too, you became confident in
Yeah.
understanding
Right.
what those things are. So it gave me the ability to develop my production
So when
skills.
you finally get into an elaborate studio, you're like
you
a kid in a
understand.
candy store.
Yeah, you understand. You understand things, and so it made me a very kind of good producer. And I've been a producer for a lot of my.
So you produce your own
I
music?
produce my own music.
Very
yeah.
good. And arrange it?
And I arrange it.
Wow.
I mean, with the help. When I say produce and arrange,
Well,
work
I
with
mean,
musicians.
of course,
So
of course.
you kind of mastermind, but there's also the talented people who are there who help. Kind of. Realize the dream and also refine the ideas that you bring, So, and then along the way, as a musician, when I moved beyond Ghana and started having the opportunity of meeting, greater musicians, I will always ask them questions. When I spent time with Stevie Wonder, we'll talk music.
Let's talk
You know?
about that. Now
Yeah.
you've mentioned, now you got my attention. Everything you said before, up until this point, I wasn't listening. And now you've got my attention, Stevie Wonder.
Yes.
You've shared the stage with Stevie Wonder.
I've shared the stage with Stevie Wonder a few
Bono.
times. Bono, we collaborated.
Collaborated.
And did a song together for Playing for Change.
Did you meet him?
I've met Bono several times. And even,
He's one of the,
Yes.
when you talk about human being,
Yes.
wow,
Yes.
I'm jealous.
And I've had the opportunity of spending a lot of quality time with Prince.
Prince
Yes.
in
Also
Minneapolis.
Prince Minneapolis, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so when Prince came to live in, he came to LA, and at that time too, I had a very popular club there called Afro Funky, which I started because it was also something that I will go into later. Is that when I started spending time in America too, I recognized the challenges of my kind of music, being able to kind of navigate through the already entrenched systems there. So I always created a platform for myself. So I started a club night that was dedicated to African music.
Okay.
But then it evolved into, it became like a huge thing.
Yeah.
So it also afforded me the opportunity to do my own shows without having to go through
Somebody,
agencies.
yeah.
And then I would sell out shows there.
Yeah.
And so it became such an incredible place.
So
to work.
when did you get into LA? What year?
Oh well, LA. I started going to America around 2000.
2000.
Yeah,
That's very recent.
yeah. Actually,
It can be. It'll be
dial back
earlier than
97,
97.
96, 97.
96, 97.
If my memory will.
Okay.
It's been such a long time that
Right.
I've been, yeah.
Right.
But around that, because it was closer to when my first album came.
Okay.
I was in Legon, and then I went there, interned for a record label, and then came back, started my own label because it was hard finding people to invest in my music. So I knew that I had to totally figure out all the pieces by myself.
Okay.
So
when you meet all these guys, what's it like? Because for me, as a club DJ, I'm yet to meet any of these guys. And I don't know what I'd do if I ran into Lionel Richie or Stevie Wonder. So when you meet them, what's it like? I mean, the human interaction.
Well, you see, the thing is that it's one amazing thing when through your works too, you get opportunity of being introduced as a musician or a Grammy-nominated musician or a certain when you grew up being a fan. You know, it's like the first time I met Stevie Wonder, I remember sitting in Koforidua, my neighbor's house. My neighbor, you know, they used to work in Nigeria, so, you know, Nigeria always had good records. So he brought, like, you know, all these records, and there was like Stevie Wonder Hotter Than July, where he had that.
Oh my goodness!
You know,
Master Blaster.
Yeah, Master Blaster. So I remember always, like, I will listen to that record over and over, and I will have like the cover. I'll be always like admiring the cover. I was like, you know, one of these days I'm gonna meet this guy, and then it happened.
You know, there's a song that's on that album that everybody plays, but they don't have a clue where it came from.
Oh yeah.
Remember that song? Happy Birthday.
Oh yes.
Everybody's birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday. That's the album that it came from.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I know, because I used to play that. I used to play Master Blaster, Happy Birthday on that song.
It was
brutal song.
And then meeting Stevie, you know, I mean, meeting him and then playing together, you know, the first major concert we did was actually we had collaborated on something even in Ghana here. And then I was doing a mutual friend brought us together, and then I was doing a concert in Los Angeles, you know, where I was launching one of my albums. So Stevie came there, and during the middle of the concert, he asked, you know, that he should be brought onto the stage. It was one of those. It was at a Afro-funky spot.
Oh wow!
It was still Afro-funky. It was a sold-out night.
Wow!
You know, and that, you know, that spot it really helped push. Even right now, with all the Afrobeat stuff that is going in America and stuff, that club was very instrumental in pushing and changing the dynamic.
You still have it?
African? No. We after I did it for 10 years, you know, I was too busy.
Yeah.
And then it was at its height too, so I decided that we stop and we only do it once in a while.
Okay.
You know? So it's still there. The brand is still there, but we only do it once in a while. It was like a gathering spot for a lot of actors, musicians, thinkers, people from the diaspora. It represented the possibilities of America.
Wow. Now, just before we go on break, guess what word he's going to use? Possibilities. That is the slogan of DNT, Diaspora Network Television. You're watching Diaspora Weekly. We're going a quick break, and when we come back, we will now talk about America and what's going on there. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
People are not plucked from heaven to become MPs. They come from amongst us. Some of the ways we find acceptable are magnified when we put them in positions that are bigger.
The president and his government, what's your brief assessment of them?
We have a government that is not only disappointing, but arrogantly dishonest. MPs are emergency numbers.
What did the person ask for?
The request was that he needed my help to get some contact within the National Lottery Authority so that they can give him some too sure banker to stake.
Expecting money from your relations abroad. Have you ever been defrauded of your money remittance? Open an ADB account today. Send your name and your account number to your relations abroad. Ask them to use MoneyGram direct to account service and receive your money in your account in minutes. With MoneyGram direct to account service, there's no PIN code wahala. You can now access your money on all ATMs in Ghana or send it to any mobile money wallet using ADB mobile banking app or shortcode *767#. Visit our branches nationwide to conveniently receive your Western Union, MoneyGram, RIA, Unitylink, Transfast, and Express Money Transfers. Reach us on our Facebook, website, or call our hotline on 0302 210 210 for more information. ADB, truly agri and more.
Hello and welcome back. This is Diaspora Weekly, and we're blessed to have with us Rocky Dawuni. How many days, I mean, do you get to run into people of this caliber, stars of this caliber every day? And I wish one of you guys can turn around and just look at the faces of these guys looking at it. That's what Rocky does to you, ladies and gentlemen. Rocky, so you got to the States.
Yes.
In the late 90s. Everything was fine and you were going through. What do we have in America now? Police brutality and shooting of black people and everything. Did you ever run into any of those?
I never run into any of those, but you know, the thing is that, you know, when you are in LA, you know, you see a lot of that, you know. You see, you know, there was always a big difference when I talk about, you know, there's the Africans who migrate there because we never grew up under any kind of police brutality and also racism because we grew up with our own. A lot of times, sometimes it's very hard for you to even recognize it.
Yeah.
You know, whilst people, African American brothers who grew up in there, where it's a systemic thing, where if you live in a neighborhood whilst growing up, you leave your neighborhood, there's a police car, you're stopped, you ask where you're going, you're frisked, you're put on the, you know, so, and then every day you see your father is stopped, your mother is stopped, humiliated, and all of that kind of stuff, and you live through that. You know? And then a systemic thing of, you know, mass incarceration, dealing with all of that stuff. You know, I did not grow up.
It's almost as if your eyes invited when you grow into that. So when you interact with the police,
yes,
your look at the police is almost like apprehensive. Apprehension, where in your case, black Africans who went there would, police stop me, how are you doing?
I think that it's also because of, as you say, nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
So it's also nurture, you know, because no, it's actually nature, because when you look at our environment, when we go there, we are going there, we've never had a history of oppression. So we don't have, apart from, let's say, colonialism and all of that, you know, and that was like a long time after slavery, you know. So the way we see things are, and our experiences and the way we react to things are different. I was telling somebody that for so many times, even some of my black friends will ask me, you know, when you enter an elevator, you know, like, I mean, you see, you know, where there's like maybe a lonely white woman there or that kind of stuff, like they get nervous and all that. And I said, oh no, I've never seen it, just because
you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking for. You know, but so that's why sometimes.
And you see, the white woman too, because he doesn't see that in you, she's more comfortable.
And then the white woman to imagine that, you know, she's been watching TV shows that where the media, in terms of the black stereotypes that it's always shown at, always every time on TV, it's a black man robbing a bank or a black man, you know. So the images of black people that are being shown are always never the positive image. So white people too have been conditioned to always have a certain fear of a black man before they meet the person.
Yes, but you see, that's where I have the problem. Because if white people are making movies that stereotype you, when you get the opportunity to make movies, why wouldn't you make movies like Boomerang? But why would you continue to feed into that stereotype by making movies like Boys in the Hood and all those things? That is where I have a problem with.
You see, like when we go to something like Boys in the Hood, it's almost like the rap songs, you know. The rap songs, there was something about them whereby it wasn't like they were glorifying or talking about, it was the life that they lived that most people didn't understand.
So they're venting.
Yeah, you see, till George Floyd, most people did not understand the pain of black people. We knew about it.
Yeah.
White people knew about it, about racism. But it got to a point, even when you talk about racism, everybody pretended
but
that it didn't exist.
By the way, I will also say this for someone, an African man who has lived in America for decades.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I've been pulled over multiple times by white police officers.
Yeah.
Never disrespected.
Yeah.
Not once.
Yeah.
Guess the one time that I was disrespected was a black police officer.
Well, but it's not systemic. You see, that's the thing. That you have individuals, but even the black police officer, he's probably doing his job, first of all.
No, this one was disrespectful.
No, I'm saying that the police, you know, when you have, you know, the policeman, you know, and then also black policemen, obviously when he's on the job, he's expected to even when he see his brothers, or else they will be like, you're giving a pass.
Pass,
to
yeah, that
people.
too,
So
that
sometimes
too.
I think that the overcompensation
Yeah.
for trying
Yeah.
to fit in and all of that. But the thing is that the reality of America, as you know and I know, is that America, the system, how it's set up, if you don't have the opportunity of education, if you don't have the opportunity of lesson, because most of we who go there, the Africans who go there, you already have an ability to pay your ticket to get there. So obviously you have some support system.
Yeah.
Either from your family that lives there, or some family that has money, or somebody that is there. So you're not going there literally as a refugee.
And let's face it, those of us who live the continent of Africa, you just rightfully said, by virtue of the fact that you're actually able to buy your ticket means you're not exactly average. But the mistake we make is that we get to America and we compare ourselves with the whole population. And you have to, every population has levels, the higher up, the average, the lower class and everything. Would you, those of us who live the continent in Africa to go there, we're not exactly the lower class. So is it fair for us to compare ourselves, our community in America, with the larger African American community?
Oh, of course, it's our people, you know. So I think that, it's our people. But the thing is that most of the times we are also a little bit dissociated.
That's the dissociation part.
Yeah, dissociated from the reality of, because
that's it.
Because there's never a black history taught in schools.
Yeah.
So imagine, our brothers and sisters have gone there, 400 years of slavery. There's the genetic memory too, because all the pain, the trauma and everything is carried through generations.
And we didn't face that.
I mean, we faced that probably back, let's say, maybe during slavery, but a lot of times, and wars and all that. But we had our own to heal and still be with our own people and grow. They did not have. They had to go through several stages, and then a lot of their leaders and who came to try and speak on their behalf to were always kind of harassed. From Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, W.E.B. Du Bois, all these black leaders, Marcus Garvey, all these black leaders who came to be on the side of black people also got harassed. So they didn't have the savior factor in terms of helping them move forward. And I think that pain and frustration and not having the American dream, not really, it was always talked about in grand sense, but that American dream only works for you if you already have like a stepping stone on it, which most of them did not.
This interview is taking on a different thing that we anticipate. You've touched on a few issues. Growing up in Africa, I never saw anybody rough up my father. My father was this king.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
He was never dehumanized in any form.
Yes.
That's one. Two, when I turn on the TV, the president is black like me, the attorney general, whoever is who looks like me.
Yeah.
So this is the mind with which I enter America.
Yes.
Now, look at let's say the African American who also grew up there. Chances are, like you say, in LA, he's seen his parent handcuffed before and roughed up.
Several times.
That subdues you.
Yes.
And then you look on TV until Obama came, everybody who was president was white.
Yes.
So it was not even realistic for you as a black child to say, when I grow up, I want to be president.
Yes.
So the experiences are different.
On TV,
yes.
The stereotype, the icons on
TV
were all not of your own.
Okay.
It was, people who were elevated in popular culture and all that kind of stuff did not represent.
And if you saw your own, he was in handcuff. He was being chased down.
Exactly. So that was, when you look at, when we talk about systemic racism.
So all those. Do white people see this?
But that's why I'm saying that the average white person probably does not see it. Some see it.
Why wouldn't you?
The reason why you won't see it, because it's not being perpetuated on you.
Who feels it knows it?
Who feels it knows it?
Bob Marley.
Yes. So because if you wake up and everywhere you go, it's your own. Like here, that's the same reason why when I go there, a woman clutches her purse. I'm still like.
You see it.
To it.
You see it.
I see it, but it doesn't affect me.
Right.
I'm just like, if you're clutching your purse, that's your body.
That's
I'm a free African. I'm a free thinker. And all of that. But the thing is that it's because I am confident in who I am because
Yeah.
I grew up in a place where
Based on your nurture.
everything, everybody, as you were saying, you turn on the TV, is one of your own and all of that kind of stuff. But so I didn't come with that constantly.
baggage.
Yeah, constantly work, trying to survive and succeed in a system that is not playing ball with me.
Let me. I want to shift this conversation into white folks a little bit because, and I'll start by painting a picture to you. If you're black, let's say you go to a restaurant with your girlfriend, you sit down, and the white couple that just came 2 minutes after you gets attended to first.
Yeah.
Do you think that white couple, they know anything wrong?
They don't
but
see it.
But you sit here and say, wait, he came after us. Why are they taking care of them before me? You see it, but they won't see it.
No, they won't see it because them is like the normal thing.
That's the normal thing, right? So
Yes.
that is what brings the issue. Why only recently, only after Floyd, that white people are starting to see, oh, this is what we've been oblivious.
Because it was no more. Because at first, when it happened, we didn't have the opportunity of what's it called, the social media. The media
but they've
was
been
controlled.
beneficiary of white privilege for all this time. We've been telling them that.
Yeah, but the thing is that nobody in another race is going to stop what they're doing in order to help you unless it affects them. It's just a humanity. That's how we
but
are.
if you mean well, you
empathize.
Yes.
But empathizing and having compassion for it and marching with us
and feeling it.
It's different. You never know it until you feel it. Even me, I've lived in America, but when I saw that visual, that image of that guy with his knee,
I was too much.
And the thing, it doesn't. You just have to be human.
Yeah.
For it to really, so what it did was that a lot of white people who probably have seen it going, but it wasn't something that they were bothered about just because it wasn't their business. Now, all of a sudden, it was their business because what they saw was appalling. So if you are part of it, is now being, the brushstrokes are being painted white as white supremacist, white racism, and you're a white person too, and you all of a sudden say, oh, I don't do that, I don't support that. But then you're dealing with that, and so you benefit from it, and also there's going to be some soul searching.
Soul searching. Where is this all leading? Where is this all leading? What do you think?
I think that ultimately we have no other choice in terms of arriving at a point where we have to coexist. We all have to coexist. So regardless of the struggle, regardless of the fight, regardless of all of that kind of stuff, we have to get to a place where there is justice, there is dignity, there's mutual respect for all people of all races, of all social structure, without regards to your racial or your ethnicity.
Very good.
So I think that ultimately that's going to be, because without that, then humanity will lose our way. Because we can't live in a place where we are suspicious, a race war where my life is towards killing another people of race, another person's life is also killing another person. Then it's chaos.
You don't think this can generate into a race war?
It can generate into a race war, but when we go there, nobody will win.
Nobody will win.
Nobody will win.
Some folks think they will win.
Yeah, but I'm saying we will all lose.
Okay.
Whoever thinks they because people who are crazy enough and also insensitive enough or blind enough to think that a racial war will
solve the problem.
Yeah, will solve some kind of problem, are deluded. And I think that's why we have to redouble our efforts to also find friends, not necessarily, because this is not even a Black Lives Matter.
It's a human thing.
No, Black Lives Matter is not a black problem. Black Lives Matter is a humanity problem.
It's a humanity problem.
It's about humanity waking up to see what historic injustice that has been done to a race, and also right before the eyes of the whole world, seeing it being perpetuated by people who are supposed to be there to help you. So I think it defeats and also compromises the trust in certain institutions, and it leads all of us to have that conversation.
Okay, Rocky, you left Ghana only yesterday. Compared to how long I've been gone, you left only yesterday. But you're eager to come back. Why? You went now, before you answer that, you left Ghana and you didn't go to New York or Harlem, or you went to America. You hung out with Stevie Wonder, and all these guys. I mean, that's the glitz, LA. What's the yearning to come back?
Because all that we did was to experiences, but all those experiences were also purposefully to bring it back and contribute that to the advancement of our people and advancement of our continent. Because I am a strong believer that we are going to a phase in the world. When you look at the geopolitics of the world right now, it used to be America, the West, and then right now China and all of that. And I think Africa is poised to be the next, because first of all, when you even look at the number of the youth, Africa has the highest number of youth when it comes to compared to everywhere. Other race.
Yeah.
So that means that we are going to be defining the future of the world. So to define this future of the world, that means that we also need to access all our power. That's human power, human capital, human, shall I say, contributors to forging this new Africa. So the diaspora for me represents that, because sometimes when we think of slavery and all of that, it took a lot from us. But our people, our brothers who carry our DNA, they did not die off. They survived despite all the problems that they went, and they're in the Caribbean, they're in the Americas and all of that, So I think that for them to come back and be part of this is almost like the biblical, in the Psalms, it says, Ethiopia shall stretch forth its hands to God. Ethiopia, which represents Ghana and which represents Africa, is that I feel that we are in that era. We are in an era to realize the dreams of Marcus Garvey about the children of Africa coming back home. The era to realize the dreams of our forefathers who were taken from these shores, who yearn to come back. But they're coming back in the form of our brothers and sisters who are now finding their way back home.
So is the brain drain versus brain gain now?
Yes.
It was brain drain, now it's brain gain.
It's brain gain.
But there is a problem. The problem is, I've had this told to me, and it seemed to capture the sentiments of those who remained on the continent, that, when it was tough, when the going got tough, you guys left. We're the ones who stayed here and tough it. Now you want to come back and enjoy.
No, I think that is so myopic to some extent. I'm being blunt.
You'd be amazed how many people feel like that.
Yes, I know. I say I'm being blunt just because the bigger picture, we have to look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture that in our numbers, we are stronger. The bigger picture is that when you even look at our developmental models, economic developmental models, social developmental models, a lot of times, we outsource it from the West, for World Bank and Western institutions. So our developmental, shall I say, aspirations is all being kind of educated by Western ideas. But we have people who are of us, who've been part of the Western world, have been part of the Western world from its inception, and in terms of America, creating America, who, if there is a change of mindset and heart, now want to be part of us. So we don't have to go to what's it called, Plymouth Rock, as they say. Plymouth Rock is upon us, So we are, if we encourage our brothers to come and be part of us, first of all, the amount of capital, investment capital that our brothers in the diaspora make, that investment, their combined worth alone, even thinking that they're going to put it in Africa and invest in Africa, could totally be a game changer for African countries.
You and I know that, but the myopia, how do we get beyond it? Because you know what? One thing that I've noticed, I'll give you an example. I went to church, I visited a church in Houston. It was a strip like this. It had like 5 African churches. And I'm like, all these churches can come back into one, combine to one. But no, we Africans would much rather be the head of a small unit than be ordinary part of a larger unit. Yeah. How do we overcome that?
Well, I think all of those things sometimes too, they are remnants of, when you are deprived a lot. Sometimes you hold on to the very little you have. I think it's been the experience of our people. We've been through a lot. Slavery, we don't even know what kind of historic trauma that we, even the current people, are suffering from slavery. We don't know, but it's probably there. And I think that sometimes when you grow up,
some will say it's an excuse.
No. I mean, everything, whether it's an excuse or not, it still exists. It's a matter of how you overcome it.
Yes.
You know, you have to use your problems to become stepping stones. You know, that's how I see it. But what I'm saying is that, you know, like all these things are, you know, they are an ingrained part of who we are. But to move ahead, we have to be able to overcome all this. But that's not to say that they're not there. Those problems are there. It's good that those problems are there. That means that there is certain issues, because you can't have, you know, we are culturally very different. You know, they came through the eyes of America, and we came through the eyes of Africa. So in terms of the intersection point, it's just going to be rough. You know, but that does not defeat the ultimate benefit of the union.
Yes.
Of the connection. And I believe that when we finally are able to forge a perfect union of Africa, like almost like reversing the door of
the door return.
The door of no return to the door of return, like this, you know, changing the wheel backwards. When we're able to do that, then I believe that now we can be able to put Africa in the right spot to become the leader of the world.
Finally, what about those of us who come and we throw our weight around as if we're God's gift to Africa?
Well, it's our ego, so we have to put it in check.
On that note, we will have to wrap up. But you know what? You are a musician, so I'm going to start this song because you used a word. Whatever we're going through, we have to overcome it. And so the people, whoever wrote the song, We Shall Overcome, maybe they know what they're talking about.
Yes.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday.
It's so beautiful. You see, it just releases something in your soul and your being, and it fills you with hope.
Yes.
So you know that you're facing adversity, you're facing problems.
But there's hope.
But there's hope. And you know that those problems, like the phoenix, you got to go through the fire. You got to burn through the fire. But when you burn through the fire, you resurrect and you remake yourself even much more powerful.
Failure is not an option. If you're watching this, Africa, failure is not an option. We've been at this for far too long. The youngsters, the youngest population in the world, all of them looking for jobs. And then we the leadership, the older generation, the generation ahead, we have to really gravitate. We have to graduate from whatever mindset we have right now, saying that we have to control. These youngest are they are excellent. Let me repeat. We have some of the smartest young people in the world. All they're looking for is a chance. And so when you take that money and you go and put it in a Swiss bank account, when you take that money, you go and put it in Dubai, we need to start to rethink it, okay? Africa is for us, and you are in the leadership. The young people need you. Rocky. It's been a blast.
Thank you.
It's been a blast.
Yes, thank you.
This has been Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and this has been one of the most amazing